episode of filmmaking. So in this episode, we are going to learn the production works of filmmaking. Haven't you watched the previous episode? If you haven't, you have to. Okay, the link is given here. In the previous episode, we learned how to write a story, how to write a screenplay, storyboard. We have casted actors for our characters. We found suitable location for each of our scene, and we arranged the technical crew, and we scheduled shooting dates. So we have completed all the pre-production works. Now let's move to the second phase, that is production works. Production work is the shooting of the film. Now we have a script, we have actors to role play the characters in the script, and we are on the shooting location. All the technical crew are ready, and we have arranged all the properties for that scene. So everything is ready. Now these actors are going to perform their roles before the camera, and we are going to record it using our camera. In simple words, this is shooting.
ഭയപ്പെടാതെ വിജയേട്ടാ, നമ്മൾ വിചാരിക്കുന്ന പോലെ അത്ര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടൊന്നുമില്ല ഷൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ. ഈ സിനിമാ വാരികളൊക്കെ വായിച്ചിട്ടില്ലേ? ഡയറക്ടർ പറയും സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ആക്ഷൻ കട്ട്, അത്ര തന്നെ.
But you know, it is not as simple as that. You might have watched the film Chindavishtiya Shyamala. It's a Srinivasan movie, and he himself is the protagonist in that movie. His friend tells him that film direction is an easy task, so he ventures to make an ad film believing his words. Later, he realizes that it was not as simple as he believed.
Sir, ക്ഷമിക്കണം, ഞാൻ സത്യം പറയാം. ഇവൻ പറഞ്ഞു ഡയറക്ഷൻ എളുപ്പപ്പണിയാണെന്ന്. ഞാൻ ഇതുവരെ ഒരു ഷൂട്ടിംഗ് പോലും കണ്ടിട്ടില്ല സർ.
My point is that we can never start making a film learning A to Z things about filmmaking. But at the same time, we should never start making a film without knowing the ABCDs of filmmaking. So now let's learn the ABCDs of film shooting. And they are camera basics, camera shots, camera angles and movements, and important cinematography or composition rules. These four things are we are going to learn all these four things. Camera is the most important thing in this second phase, film shooting. It acts as the eye of the viewers. It records everything that is moving or standing still before the camera. If you don't know how to handle the camera, the viewers will not get a clear vision. So for a better vision, we must learn the basics of camera. Or you can hire a cameraman. If you have enough budget to hire a cameraman, you can go for it. That's better. But if you don't have the budget to afford a cameraman, you have to learn the basics, or you have to learn how to handle the camera. So that is what we are going to learn here. How do we see? What is the most important thing we need to see? Yeah, we need eyes. Only eyes are enough? No. Yeah, eyes are not enough. We need light. We need light to see things. If there is no light, it will be dark everywhere and we will not be see anything. So, in order to see things, we need light. Like our eyes, camera also needs light to take videos or pictures. The quality of the picture or video depends on how we use the light before the camera. So, for the better use of light in the camera, we have to learn three things, that is ISO, aperture and shutter speed. What happens to our eyes when we step into a dark room from a bright place? Yeah, at first we will not be see anything, but slowly we get the vision. That means our eye sensitivity increases. This is what ISO does in cameras. ISO is the sensitivity of the image sensor in a camera. When there is not enough light, we have to increase the value of ISO. Okay, and when there is more light, we have to keep the ISO into a low value. So I will show you some examples of photos taken with different ISO values. Here are they. or video in a place where there is not enough light, increasing only the ISO value? Definitely no. Okay, when we increase the ISO value, more noise or more grains will appear on the picture. So it is always better to keep the ISO as low as possible. And if there is not enough light, if there is not enough natural light, you have to use other forms of light, artificial light. Okay, so I think you have understood what is ISO. Now let's move to the second one, that is aperture. Aperture is the hole or opening in a lens's diaphragm through which light passes towards the image sensor. When this hole or when this aperture is big, more light will pass through the lens, and when this hole or aperture is small, only less light will pass towards the image sensor. Normally, aperture is written f followed by a number like f1.4, f2.8, f4, f8, like that. So bigger aperture has smaller numbers and smaller aperture has bigger numbers. That means bigger the opening, smaller the number. Smaller the opening, bigger the number. You got confused? Okay, let me explain. If I say that the aperture is 1.4, that means the opening is big. And if I say the aperture is f8 or f16, that means the hole is small. Okay, I think you have understood what aperture is. Aperture has a direct impact on the depth of the field. Suppose if we want to shoot a landscape, all the objects in the field must be in focus. So we have to use a smaller aperture. And if we are going to shoot a single object, if we are going to focus on a single object, and all other objects in the field must be blurred or they should be shallow, and if we want so, we have to use a larger aperture. And I will show you some examples. Here are some examples. As we compare it with our human eyes, aperture is like the pupil in our iris. We know the pupil in our iris can grow and shrink to control the light. This is what aperture does in digital cameras. Okay, so we have understood what aperture is. Now let's move to the third one, that is shutter speed. Shutter speed is the length of time the image sensor in the camera is exposed to light. Okay, it is measured in fractions of seconds. If we say the shutter speed is 1/4, it means that the shutter or the door in front of the sensor opens and closes at 1/4 of a second. When the shutter is opened and closed at a fast shutter speed, only that much light will reach the sensor. When the shutter is opened and closed at a slower shutter speed, more light will reach the sensor. A fast shutter speed lets less light in, and it gives the effects of freezing the objects. Normally, it is used to capture a moving object in sports or in wildlife. A slower shutter speed lets more light in, and it gives the effects of motion blur to the moving objects, and we will get a clear picture of still objects. Okay, so let me show you some photographs taken with different shutter speeds. Okay, here are some photographs. So these three, ISO, aperture and shutter speed, these three are the three pillars of digital photography or videography. You have to bear in mind these things when you learn photography or videography. Okay, so train yourself bearing in mind these 3 points and practice well, because only practice will make you perfect. So now let's move to the next topic, that is camera shots. a continuous view filmed by one camera without interruption or cuts. Mainly, there are three kinds of shots: long shot, medium shot and close-up shots. A medium shot indicates that it was captured at a medium distance from the subject. This is the common shot and it allows the viewer to get a solid view of the character in the film. Long shot is also known as wide shot. It shows the full length of the subject with a large number of surrounding areas. Okay, normally it is used as an establishing shot in films. A close-up shot is a shot taken of a subject or a person at a close range. This shot is used to show the minute details of a subject or to show the emotion of a character, etc. Other than these three, there are extreme close-up shots and extreme wide shots. Okay, now let's move to the next topic, that is camera angles and camera movements. Let's discuss camera angles first. Mainly, there are three camera angles: eye level, high angle and low angle. Eye level is a shot taken from a normal height, that is the character's eye level. Okay, this is the natural angle and about 90 to 95% of shots in a film are seen in this angle. In high angle, camera is placed above the subject and the subject looks smaller than usual. And this angle is normally used to show that the subject is weak, powerless or trapped. In low angle, the camera films the subject from below. So here, the subject looks bigger than usual. Okay, this angle is normally used to show that the subject is powerful, the subject is strong or it is threatened. Yeah, other than these three, there are Dutch angle shots, there are bird's eye view shots and there are over the shoulder shots. So you have to select the right angle for each of your shot. Okay, you have to say, if you want to show that your character is powerless, your character is helpless or your character is trapped, you have to use a high angle. Okay, if you want to show that your character is getting strong or your character is going to threaten others, you can use a low angle shot. So you have to select the right angle for each of your shot. Now let's move to the next one, that is camera movement. Mainly, there are three camera movements: pan, tilt and zoom. Pan is the camera movement from side to side. Okay, from side to side on a horizontal axis. This will give you a panoramical view of a landscape or other things. Tilt is the camera movement where the camera moves up or down on a vertical axis. This will give you a vertical view of the object from head to toe. Then the last one, zoom. In zoom, the camera moves either in to get a closer view of the object or the camera moves further away from the object. There are other two more camera movements, but they are a little bit expensive. Here is the first one, it is dolly or tracking. Here is an example. And the second one is boom or crane, and here is the example. Now let's discuss the last topic of today's episode. Okay, that is important composition, videography or composition rules. So today we are going to learn only 5 important composition rules. Okay, and the first rule is rule of thirds. Rule of third is a composition rule where we divide the frame into 9 equal parts by drawing 2 horizontal lines and 2 vertical lines. So if you place the object in any of these intersecting points, that frame will look more beautiful and more natural. Here, I will show you some examples. Now, let's move to the next row number 2. That is roll of 180 degree. When there are two characters in the scene and when they converse each other, they should maintain the same left-right relationship to one another. For that, the camera is placed on one side of an imaginary axis between these two characters, and the camera is not supposed to cross the line. When the camera breaks this rule, the viewers may feel that the characters are looking in opposite direction. So this is the rule of 180. And now let's move to the next rule, that is rule of 30 degrees. Actually, this is not a composition, it's an editing tool, it's an editing rule actually. Okay, here it tells that the camera should move at least 30 degrees when we shoot the continuous shots of the same subject. This rule indicates the amount of space above the subject, in front of the subject, and in the direction that the subject is moving or looking. Now, the fifth and last rule. You should never ever follow these rules. Yes, I mean, you should never ever follow these rules blindly. You should know well when to break these rules. If you want to confuse the viewers, or if you want to bring a different mood in your frame, or if you want to bring chaos in your frame, definitely you will have to break the above said rules. Okay guys, that's all about film production. I have shared only a few pieces of information that I know about film production. Okay, if you want to learn more about film production, a lot of YouTube channels are there. Do you have a digital camera? Do you wish to buy a digital camera? So some basic models and their prices are given in the description box, so don't forget to check them. Okay, so that's all about today's episode, film production. See you soon on the next episode. Till then, bye.